All right, I'm gonna be real with y'all today. We're gonna talk about intuitive parenting, intuitive fatherhood. I was gonna write down some really good notes, but I think this thing is about to die, so I gotta get it out the way. So when it comes to intuitive parenting, there's a couple things I want to talk about in this video. One, what is that? What does that look like, especially for dads? Some common misconceptions about intuition, and then why is it hard for dads to even grasp the idea of parenting from intuition? I think real quick, I'll give you some personal examples in my own fatherhood journey of where I've learned some examples of where I've chose to parent from my intuition and how it played out for me. And hopefully you could do the same. Just give you some practical tips day to day. All right. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is what is intuitive fatherhood? What is intuitive parenting? So the easiest way for me to explain that to you is it's when you're parenting not from the dad toolbox. It's when you're parenting not from the parenting script. What that means is oftentimes our kids will do things or say things or whatever situation or experiences arise from fatherhood that we automatically just know the response. It's like we automatically feel like we know what is needed in that moment. We know how to respond. We know how to react based off of an automated system, essentially. And versus parenting from your intuition is almost like you're letting, it's going to sound cliche, but you're letting your higher self guide you in this moment. You're listening to your body. It's almost like you are parenting from more of a being present than a script. I know it probably sounds, woo woo, as they say, but that's literally what it is. And I think it's a hard concept for a lot of us to grasp because we don't grow up that way. I think a big problem is when you are growing up in our era, a good dad is a dad that is strict and very logical and very do it by the books. That's what's considered a good dad. We hear that growing up all the time. A good dad is one that is not really the dad that's going to take a step back and reassess the situation because that doesn't give off confidence. And I think what I'm trying to push with my message is we can be good dads doing all of that stuff. It doesn't mean you're a bad dad if you're more logical. It doesn't mean you're a good dad if you're not more logical. What I'm trying to get people to understand is when it comes to this dad stuff, we are trapping ourselves in a box based off conditioning. And we got to step out of that box, right? Because you're a good dad in every single aspect of your journey, not just when you're providing all the bread, not just when your kids are fearing you because they think they're going to get in bigger trouble and you're going to be harder on them than their moms. You're a good dad when your kid does not fear you and knows that they can have a conversation with you that is going to provide some clarity, some emotional bonding between the two of you. When it comes to parenting intuitively, it's basically like parenting, it's basically you're doing what the moment calls for. And you're not just automatically stepping inside of oh, I already know how to fix this. Let's try to give you a good example. So a good example of this is basically the other day, it was like maybe a couple months ago, but my daughter was in our living room and she was absolutely going berserk, jumping over couches, like the whole thing. She's 3. And if I was not parenting intuitively, and I didn't want to in the beginning, I initially wanted to just yell, take away something, because I was frustrated. I was like hella annoyed. I'm like, Kenley, sit down. And she's like, just all this energy running and over. And she almost tripped a couple times. She almost hurt herself a couple times. Now that gets our like, we're spiking up now because we see that there's potential danger. And the way we react to when our kids are are in danger because of misbehavior or what we call misbehavior, we actually get even more angry at them, which is hilarious, right? I remember one time my son like darted across, this is many years ago, he darted across the hotel parking lot and there was no cars coming, but it's just the sense that, oh my gosh, he could have got hit. And I remember that was the last time I like spanked him for real, for real. And I remember thinking like, he just got a spanking because I was in fear of his life. That doesn't really make sense, but that's another topic for another day. Am I so good? Yeah. So basically, I said, you know what? Let me just relax and figure out what the moment needs in this moment. And I said, hey, Kenley, come here. I said, do you want to go outside? Do you want to take a walk? And she said, yeah. And we put on her Crocs and we went outside. We walked for 20 minutes. We came in the backyard here and we just hung out, ran around, played tag for a little bit and went back inside. And she was a totally different person. So I say all that to say, parenting intuitively in that moment provided what she needed. A lot of the times we, as parents, we try to fix it from what we need, right? And in that moment, what I needed was for her to listen. She was making a lot of noise. But what was more important is that she needed to get out the house. She needed some time away from this environment that she felt like she didn't have enough space to run around in. And we went outside and I gave her that space. I gave her that sunlight, and totally different child when she came back in the house. But we would have never gotten to that moment, that realization, if I was just parenting from the script of, okay, you're running, you're not listening. I tell you to stop. I put you in timeout for 5 minutes, that whole ordeal. And that's a script. That's exactly what it is, because you're literally doing it on autopilot. You're not taking, I do this as well. We're not taking the time to just be still and breathe into what else could be done here. What does the moment truly call for? That's parenting from intuition. And I talked about this in a couple of videos ago, where intuition, feeling that inner nudge in your body, it's a feminine trait, but we need to be okay with that, because there are masculine traits and there are feminine traits, and it's all energetic traits. Society wants you to think that if you are embracing these feminine traits, you're a female or something like that. It has nothing to do with gender. Society makes us lean one way or the other, but it's just energetic traits. Like, you're compassionate, you're feminine. You are logical, you're masculine. And we are all things. We are masculine, we're feminine, we're compassionate, we're logical, we're all the things. We're tough, we're understanding. We need to start embracing that. And I think a couple of things I want to say before I end this video is something the reason why something that I see often is people confuse anxiety with intuition a lot. And I get it why that is, because they're both, especially when you're being intuitive by listening to your inner body, your mind, you may think that it's anxiety. And a lot of people confuse the two. So real quick, I just want to tell you, if you're in a parenting situation or any situation and you want to know the difference between your intuition and your anxiety, anxiety feels very rushed. Anxiety feels very panicky, very urgent. Intuition feels very calm. It's clear, and it's like your body is expanding. Anxiety feels like your body is very tight. So those are some things you want to think about if you're confusing intuition and anxiety. Intuition is definitely a clear way of seeing, but it does require some silence. That's the thing about it. We all have intuition. Everybody can use it in any situation, but some people train their intuition muscles more than others. One of the things about training your intuition is you have to find time to be silent. You have to block out the noise. Noise is like one of the worst distractors for your intuition. I don't even know how many minutes we're at right now, but I would love to close this video by just reiterating a couple points. The first one is parenting from intuition. Look at it as you're parenting from what the moment actually calls for. That's parenting from intuition. Don't get caught up in society's definition of a good dad, because if you are caught up in society's definition of a good dad, you're not going to be able to parent intuitively. You're not going to be able to assess situations in parenting and fatherhood from a different perspective. So don't get caught up in what society is telling you is a good dad, especially, I just turned 38 a couple days ago. Our generation, you go look up what's a good dad. I mean, you're getting your ass whooped. You're getting yelled at all the time. You are very scared of your dad. And we don't want that to be what we're known for consistently. If you think about it, like I always talk about this. I don't want my kid being afraid of me. I so much disagree with that way of thinking. My child should not be afraid of me. My child should respect me, but my child should not be afraid of me. That's just my personal viewpoints on it. Start parenting from your intuition. When things don't look like how they should be looking, breathe a little bit. Feel your body. What is your body saying? Is it tight or is it calm? Is it expanding? Know the difference between your anxiety, your parenting from fear, your parenting from wanting to be in control versus your parenting from being attuned. You know what I mean? Yeah, I think that's all. I think that's what I'm gonna end with. Oh, before I go, Father's Day is around the corner. So make sure you get your 365 Dad journal. The link is in the bio or the description. And this journal, man, I created this journal last year and around this time. And I mean, it took me over a year and a half, 2 years to create this journal. But this journal has 365 prompts in it that will help you with mindfulness, being a self-aware father, a more self-aware father. We're all self-aware already. It will help you with building the connection with your children and finding community in fatherhood. I got guided meditations in this journal. I got prompts to help you realize like why you react the way you react in certain situations. So please, if you're open to journaling, go visit my website. The link should be in the description for the 365 Dad Journal, and add that to your routine this year. And I'll see you guys on the flip side. I'm sending nothing but light and